1, 2, 3, hit it. Jagga, 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 jagga.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, obviously, we just did the intro for your YouTube presence, which,
I mean, what,
2.3 million strong now, something like that?
Closer to 2.6, I think, ish.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Okay, fair enough.
Realm.
I mean, and that obviously wasn't anything that happened overnight because you've had your YouTube channel now for 9 years. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, in those 9 years, like YouTube itself has grown exponentially. So from your point of view, how has that evolution of YouTube been for you within those 9 years?
A lot has changed. A lot has changed. YouTube has really become, like, it just started off as something that I didn't even know that people were making money off of, honestly. Like, I didn't know that people were really, like, quitting their day jobs.
Right.
To do YouTube full time.
What was your day job when you started?
Well, I was a jack of many trades.
A Jacqueline of many trades?
A Jacqueline of many trades. So at the time, I was still serving in the United States Army. I was, in the Army Reserves. So I was still serving. And I was also in school at the time. And I've done retail jobs. Like, I'm just like that person that's just like, look, whatever pays the bills, you do it, you know, that's legal, of course, and constitutional.
that one like asterisk with like a note at the bottom, okay.
Just saying. So I was still serving, I was still going to school, and when I started my channel, I was also married, I lived in Hawaii. I was just like in a completely different phase of my life, like completely different. So seeing that, and also I didn't even make like a livable income off of YouTube until like a good solid 6 years later. Like once you can like set up auto pay without having to worry about whether or not the money's in your account, like that was
whether
when
that's gonna bounce those
yes,
checks. Yeah, no,
for me that was like 2014. Right. That was like not that long ago, So for me it just became something that was more like a hobby, like it was a side hustle, it was fun. It was a cute little gas tank money for the week, but to where I am now, and it's like insane how much YouTube has changed and evolved. It's crazy.
So I think when you think about growing your YouTube presence, like once you're doing it for you've been doing it for 9 years now, and at what point did you start to think I kind of have something here?
I would say I think I realized that before I even had a steady stream of income on YouTube. I feel like it was more or less like the interactions with people when I would meet them, right. When they would say things to me like, I never thought dark skin was pretty, or like, no one's ever told me I could look pretty in green eyeshadow. It was like interactions like that way before I actually made men in YouTube that made me realize like, oh, like, wow, like this isn't just about makeup anymore. Absolutely. And so I know that sounds like really corny, but truthfully, that like those moments were turning points for me. I remember one year, I actually got recognized because Google and the United Nations had this partnership.
Oh, that's right. I forgot I was in the midst of an ambassador here.
I got to be
about
a UN ambassador, which is really good. Not like an official UN ambassador, but on the creative side. They had me.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Hey, that's an ambassador enough. You feel
that's
me?
One more ambassador credit than I have.
Right.
So there you go. Just
on my resume. So it was like, wow, like people don't just look to me for makeup. Like this is really something that like is. This is huge. So it's been like moments like that have been like more like the accolades, like the accomplished side.
And I feel like, I mean, as special as that feeling can be, I feel like there's a lot of added pressure. Like you just can't necessarily cut on the camera, do a tutorial and cut it off. Like there's so much added pressure.
A ton.
So how do you navigate that? Like knowing that you have that. It shouldn't be this way, but you are speaking for so many.
I think that it's just important to remind people that I'm also a person, and like I'm also human, and like there's some times where I don't want to talk about everything all the time. It's like I almost kind of feel like you take on this, it's like this like angry black woman. Like every time people are angry about something, they come to me because they want me to be the voice of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand why they do it, but I think that sometimes people lose sight of like, you go on Twitter, I see people getting viral tweets every day with like 2,000 followers. I'm like, use your voice.
That's true.
You may not think anyone's listening to you, but it's very well possible. Like, don't be so eager to expect someone else's, like, if you're passionate about something, no one's gonna relay that more than you. And I'm not even talking about like, as it relates to like race relations or colorism, I'm talking about any such issue. Because a lot of times I will get like, someone will want me to talk about something that like, I can't even relate to. And I'm like, dog, like I wish, it just, it's not really my place. Like I just can't be the voice of everything. And I feel like, for me, it's also about a balance. So when I decided that I was going to start being more, because I've always talked about things like colorism and diversity and beauty, lack of diversity and beauty, but there's levels to that. So once I got to a place where I could kind of comfortably say a little bit more directly, you know, without it necessarily hurting my career, I started doing that, I would say, in the past 2 years. And I feel like it's important to, when you have content like that, where you're the call out content, right? I think it's also important to use the platform that I have to put on other Black artists, to talk about Black owned businesses, African owned businesses, or different minority owned businesses, you know, LGBTQ. Like that's the moment where like, I feel like every time there's bad, you have to sandwich it with good. Sometimes I follow some creators, and this is no shade to them, but it's like, they're a little just, it's like, it's too much it's too much. It's like, okay, you've exposed them as this, then what? Like, what do we do now? Like, what do we do with this information? How can we improve upon it? And like, it's not like my platform's perfect at doing it, but I always just try to make sure that there's like a balance of that calling out and that talking about the stuff that no one wants to talk about, but also I'll do a video of full face of Muslim-owned makeup brand.
I was just about to bring
you know,
that
like
up,
stuff like that, like make it fun, like find other ways to just not be the person who's constantly calling people out all the time. Because then there becomes this expectation where people like just only look to you for that, and like you want to keep it balanced, you know? It's finally here. Oh my God. Like it's huge. It has all of the shades of the Born This Way line of foundations. I am gonna go over the shades that I created and like how I came up with that shade, why I came up with that shade.
You're a beauty influencer, and a big part of that now is brands are reaching out to influencers to collaborate on palettes or, you know, highlighters, whatever it might be. And, you know, with your collaboration with Too Faced, which is huge, congrats on that.
Thank you.
It's really major. I mean, you were brought on to expand their range of foundations, which, you know, diversifying the beauty industry and what's offered to certain people on certain ends of the spectrum of, you know, this right here. It's a conversation that's been brought up a lot recently, and so I would love to hear a little bit about your collaboration with Too Faced.
It was my first global campaign. I got the opportunity to expand the Born This Way line of foundations, which is within, last time I checked, I know things change every week, but last time I checked, it was within the top 5 selling foundation in Sephora. All of Sephora.
Go ahead.
So that's
Stud.
a huge freaking deal.
Huge
freaking deal. Not to my doing, that's on its own. So it's like, once we add these new shades, it can only go better from there.
Exactly, I was gonna say.
I know, it's incredible, it's incredible. So Too Faced, you know, I had a relationship with them that had been ongoing for a couple of years before this partnership came about, and they, you know, just have been like organically supporting me, following me, sending me, you know, obviously PR product, inviting me to events. I grew pretty close to Jared, who I adore. He's the former owner of Too Faced, because now it's an Estee Lauder brand. And we just had a really cool relationship. Like, he's just dope, he's funny. And there were just like opportunities I noticed where they would kind of like plant seeds and genuinely try to find ways to like work with me, even before, like way before I even hit 1 million on YouTube, like, which was kind of cool because like organically that relationship had kind of sparked. It was last spring. They have reached out to me and said that they wanted to talk about a potential collaboration. They were hinting. And then I'm thinking like, well, they're probably gonna make me do like lipsticks or something. I'm like trying to guess like what they were gonna have me create. And I remember I brought my boyfriend with me, and then I had my manager with me, and they literally sat me in a room with Jared and like, I don't know, 10 other team members, a whole bunch of people in there. And they basically were like, look, like we feel as if with regards to our complexion products, we have, failed a number of different people, and we want to help meet that need, and like we want your help to do it. And so we want you to basically not only be the face of Born This Way, but like we want you to create new shades and help us expand the line to make it more available to everyone. And we were all like, what? Like, no one had ever done a partnership like that. Like, we didn't even know what a partnership even looked like. So then we were like, wow. Like, we were all like, what, in the best way possible. Like, we were like blown away. We were so impressed. And it took months to negotiate, like months, because first of all, we had to figure out, what does a partnership like that even look like?
Right.
What would the terms be? What would the parameter, like all kinds of different things. And so we negotiated, and I remember we announced it on my birthday, because I literally text Jared, and I was like, Uncle Jared, like, what's good with this contract? Like, bro, when can I, like, it's time, like, let's
You're
announce
like holding
this.
the balloons, ready to put the
Yes.
confetti, like, I'm ready to let this
Literally,
go.
because on my birthday, I posted a picture of me, Karen, literally. So I was just like, yo, like, when are we gonna get it poppin'? Like, come on. He was like, okay, just go ahead and post it. Like, who cares? And then his lawyer texted me after that and was like, actually, don't, just hold off real quick. So I don't know what magic he did in that time frame, but like by the end of the day, they were like, okay, here's the contract, signed it, and then I announced it on my birthday. And yeah, and then what led after that was just me going to their headquarters and looking at every foundation that they had. I had to figure out like what gaps they had. Like it was really, really thorough. It took a lot of time for me to like take them home, swatch. I had swatched every shade. I was looking at reviews, trying to figure out what gaps I could fill. It was a lot of work. It was definitely a lot of work.
And kind of going into you building out your own line, I know that's probably going to take some time, and I don't know what details you can share.
A lot of shmoney.
There's that. There is that. But I mean, I feel like there's so many, the beauty influencer spectrum of YouTube is so wide now. What kind of notes are you taking to make sure when you do start your line, it's going to kind of rise above all that?
I already knew where this is going. This is actually a really good question, because honestly, I can say up until 4 years ago, I had no interest in starting a makeup line whatsoever. None. Whenever people would ask me, when are you starting a makeup line? I'm like, why do you assume just because I'm a makeup artist and just because I'm a YouTuber that I want a line? I don't at all. Everyone has a line. I'm over it. And then I actually started to realize there's a void I could fill, and I know exactly what those voids are. And so in my head, I'm thinking,
go on.
Without saying too much, for me, it was essentially like the same reason why I started my YouTube channel, because I realized, once again, at the time, I had no interest whatsoever. None. I did not want to be on YouTube at all. If my best friend didn't tell me to do it, I wouldn't have done it.
Right.
I probably would have never started my channel to this day. But she kept urging me, and then I realized, one, I wasn't really doing much else in my life, so there's that. I needed more money. Two, I was like, you know what? There's not even, I'm taking all of these tutorials that like white women are doing and Asian women are doing, and I'm making them work for me. So chances are there's probably other people that look like me that are looking for someone that look like them too, maybe. And so I kind of had that same epiphany with makeup in the beauty industry, because yes, there's a ton of makeup lines out there, but oddly enough, a lot of you still can't make your shades dark enough for people like me. Isn't that something? Isn't that so strange? Like, that's so weird, right? So I think now that I figured out, like, okay, like there's some really unique niche specific things that I would want to do and I would want to create.
Whatever it was, there was just a gap. So I created butter pecan. I would definitely put butter pecan in that golden, even kind of olive category.
There really hasn't been much of a blueprint for your career. Like, it's just kind of something that you've been learning on the go and kind of adding things on as you go.
Right.
When you mentioned your makeup line, but like what are some other short and long-term goals that you see for yourself?
I think that a lot of people, and this is like, this is almost like a mental game. It's like anytime a lot of people tell me I should do something and I don't want to do it, ends up being something that I'm good at. My YouTube channel was one of them. Other things that I don't want to mention, I feel like the makeup line is like the next step, because before I was so resistant to it. Now obviously I'm dying to have one. And I feel like the next phase may be some television stuff, like traditional media. Who knows?
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. It's not really like, it's not like I'm like dying to be in movies and TV, but like I'm really comfortable on camera. Like it's just something that is like not even.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Like you just turn on the camera and I'm just gonna be like, oh, she's here. Yes. How you doing? Hello. Good morning. Good evening. I'm like comfortable speaking in front of like large groups. I don't know. So I think that maybe possibly playing up on that a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, and just goals like that, like fun stuff that I could use YouTube as leverage to kind of capitalize off of.
Right.